Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:01 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Happy Monday to everybody in the city. Hope that you guys are all doing well today. We've got a great interview for you guys today. My friend and guest, Victoria Hyla Maldonado, is here. Once again, back on the show, a recurring guest.
It's been a while.
Has been a minute. But she's here to talk about her current work, an anthology of all of her works, and it's called Life Between the Lines, the full collection of short stories by Victoria Hyla, 2020 to 2024.
Yeah.
So glad to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Before we get into everything, how you feeling today? How you feeling?
I'm good. I just come off of a long vacation in Niagara Falls in Canada, and so I'm like in a whirlwind of I am trying to get back to routine.
Okay.
So this
Absolutely.
is good. So
Good.
It's good. Yeah.
While you were out there, did you get any inspiration? And what's that inspiration process like for you when it comes to writing and getting those ideas and thoughts?
It's really anywhere all over the place. It's people I meet. It's places I go. It's just weird ideas and situations. It really depends. And for short stories, it's interesting because I'll be pushed into a genre that I don't typically write, maybe, but then I just have to come up with like a little scenario, and then it blossoms from there. So
Good.
Really depends on the story.
Okay.
But often it's real life inspired, and who knows?
Okay.
It depends.
So Life Between the Lines, let's go into our short stories, and let's talk about what makes up Life Between the Lines. So how did it start when it comes to making and creating the anthology?
So I had the great opportunity of, over the past 4 years, of being invited to anthologies, again, of different reasons, different themes, largely in the romance genre, but not always. I have some post-apocalyptic, I've got a crime thriller, I've got some family drama. All of them are single stories in other books that are by other authors.
Okay.
So, but I had people like, well, I want to read all your short stories. I don't really care about these other authors. I'm like, well, okay. And so I just came up with the idea because I got all the rights back to the stories, because the anthologies get the rights for a while and then they come back to the authors.
Okay.
So we have to wait a period of time. So all the stories are finally back to me. So I'm like, let's put them all together, so then people who just exclusively want to read my stuff can buy them all together.
Got it.
And I decided to do them chronologically, just to kind of, it helps them see a progression of my writing too, and myself.
Right.
Because they progressively get a bit darker as it goes.
Why is that?
I don't know. I've just unleashed, it's fun writing darker characters sometimes.
Okay.
Or darker situations, just because it's something you can think about, but you don't have to live through it yourself.
Sure.
So it's interesting going into those dark spaces and coming back out to the light and loving that.
Okay.
So.
What have you noticed about yourself in your writing since you've been doing it? Because this is from 20 to 2024, but I presume that, it probably hasn't been a linear, experience. So what have you noticed internally about yourself in your writing?
Yeah, I'm more intentional about the craft of it. I'm more intentional about making sure the structure is pleasing, but it also gets to the point.
Gotcha.
And short stories are unique, because I also write long-form novels, as we've talked about previously, and I've got 4 of those. But short stories, you have a finite amount of space, and so you have to get this whole exposition. It's the whole 5-point arc of storytelling, but you just have to get it into a really tight space. And so it's like, what is absolutely essential? What can I leave for the reader's imagination? What do I need to explain? How do I present my characters? So it's an interesting exercise, especially because I write long form, where you get 500 plus pages to do what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you say that long form of 500 plus is, where is the line? What is that? And is that line precise?
It's not precise. The industry has some earmarkers for that.
Okay.
Generally, over 100 pages is long form.
Okay.
So the longest story in there, it's almost about 100 pages. I had free reign to go with it. But yeah, if you get above 150 pages, you're going into, well, there's novelette, and then above it's not precise, but it's above a certain point, then it's a novel. So,
okay. Mm-hmm. Good to know. I want to read a little bit. I want to read the back jacket of the book. I think this is well, I like how this describes the anthology. Life is remembered in a series of snapshots that we carry with us as we grow. This collection of short stories shines a light on the moments that happen between the lines of the everyday. Whether it is romantic, tragic, euphoric, transformative, devastating, or any of the countless other states we pass through in our lives, each experience makes us that much stronger and more able to face the next chapters and new adventures yet to come. Quite the tempering, I feel, of what this book or what the reader can expect.
Yeah, it's going to be emotional in different ways.
Right.
Some are tiny little snapshots, and some are a little bit more expansive. Some are clearly fiction. There's magic in a couple of them, just because that was the anthology that I was working through. But I always go to the core of the human experience and the core of existence, just because that's what we all resonate with. And it doesn't matter what the backdrop is. Like, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan.
Okay.
I don't watch it for the zombies. I watch it for the human darkness and, you know, the human survival and what they're doing relationally.
Right.
So it's not about the zombies.
Right.
So it just doesn't have to be just about the magic or about this or about that. It's just always getting to the core of the human experience.
Sure.
That's what I love to do.
Now the stories, I want to ask you about a couple of these. Let's talk about Femme Facade. Tell me about Femme Facade. Time is 9:07.
Yeah, that was fun. A bit departure, and I didn't like the original cover. It's just not my style. It's a dude with like a big bulging chest, and it's like not my aesthetic. But Femme Facade, it was I had to. The only requirement was that one of the characters was a police officer.
Okay.
And so I chose to make the other character a thief, like a cat burglar.
Okay.
And the funniest thing with that inspiration, it was simply people drinking champagne and passing out from being drugged. That was the impetus for the whole story.
Oh, wow.
And so the beginning of the story, the male narrator, Rand, he is at a wedding for his cousin. He doesn't want to be there. He thinks weddings are boring. And so he's just like, whatever, I'm over it. And then he doesn't like champagne because he's like, champagne, that's stupid.
Right.
So he doesn't drink it, so he doesn't get drugged. And so, and then he sees the cat burglar, who's a woman, coming in and manages to catch her in the act, but she bests him. And then there's this mistaken identity coffee shop romance that spirals from that. But it was all from that idea of poisoning people at a wedding, and they don't die. They're just like passed out. And then she robs the people.
Oh.
But then she's intrigued by him because of how they meet. And then she kind of low-key stalks him, but not in a creepy way.
Okay.
But just kind of follows his routine because she's interested to know if he remembers her, all that she has a wig and everything in the burglary. And so, but it's this cute coffee shop romance, and it twists and turns and gets pretty heated at some points. But it's
Ooh.
And that one doesn't have a distinct ending. It's a hopeful, maybe something will happen.
Okay.
Kind of deal.
Okay.
So I like to leave readers wanting to know more, or they can continue the story themselves.
Femme Facade. And once again, the book is Life Between the Lines, the full collection of short stories by Victoria J. Hyla. Good morning to you for just joining us. 9:09 is the time. Dina Bach is here. Good morning to you, Dina. Myra Vasquez, Daniel Calderon. Good morning to you, dear brother. Reeman Khan, Clarita Becerra are here as well. Good morning to you guys. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. So, Femme Facade was romantic. Now I'm looking at something that's post-apocalyptic. So let's switch this real quick. Thalia has been living underground with the other apocalypse survivors for so long that color has nearly stopped having all meaning. Then one fateful visit to the surface brings her hope about life above the ground. That's living in color. Let's talk about living in color.
Yeah, so that I was at the writing group. They're the Fox Valley Writers Group, and one of our speed writes, we would just pick a topic and speed write. And one of them was post-apocalyptic. And I have this locket that I've also written into a different novel, but it's got flowers etched into it.
Okay.
And so the whole premise for that was that her mother had left that locket with her behind, but because it's copper or brass, I guess. And then so that's brown. And then the outside is all brown. And so it opens with, I think I remember what blue is. I think I remember what green is. Maybe, but am I fantasizing about that, or do I actually know? Because the entire post-apocalyptic scene is just, nuclear holocaust.
Right.
Just like absolute dryness. But yeah, she does get to go to the surface, and it's a debatable ending. People have asked me different things about the ending, so I like to leave it up to them.
Okay.
But is she hallucinating and dying, or does she actually see the person that she is thinking she's seeing?
That's amazing.
So that's a question.
Now, a parent. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about a parent.
Yeah, a parent is just a tiny little like two or three page snapshot, and it is basically this man has been given this child who's not his child. The mother abandoned the child in his care, but he's not a relation to the child.
Okay.
But then the mother comes back, and for no other reason than she just feels like she should come back, but then she ends up leaving again. Mm-hmm. And so like the whole purpose of it is that love is thicker than blood. Ooh. So it's a parent. It's like it's apparently your parent, but it's also parenting, but it's being that support system for this little girl who her mother just leaves a note at the end. I mean, it's like a 3-page story, so I'm not really ruining anything. But she leaves a note at the end giving custody over to this guy who she left her child with. So it's a unsettling little snapshot, but I mean, it ends positively for the little kids.
Well, it sounds like that's just an example of what the synopsis kind of told us about. There are some familial stories. There are some drama interspersed with, the regular lifestyle that everybody's probably living and dealing with.
Exactly.
Things like that, loneliness, abandonment, loss, what have you.
Again, all those core human emotions that we all experience across our lives. And why I said it's a life between the lines, because life is every day. Every day is what it is.
Right.
And some people, their criticism of fiction is that, this could never happen. It's so unrealistic. But in the course of your life, you have these instances that are like this.
Right.
And it hits you in a certain point, and it might not be your entire story, but it's a piece of your story.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Thank you for your words for me in the book. I appreciate it very much.
You've always been a supporter and a friend.
No doubt. Absolutely. Now, I want to read this as well, which is part of the foreword of the book. To everyone who has a story to tell and experiences to share, you are seen and valued in this world, and it's better with you in it. I wanted to read that for two reasons. Number one, what we've tried to do on this program is because kind of what that says too, to let people know that like, whatever it is you're doing, whether you're making candles in your basement or you got the food truck and you got your eyes on maybe getting that little space, whatever it is you're doing, keep it up. And if it's something good and positive, like you should be able to share that. You should, like, that's what you should be supported. Also, though, I want to know from you personally, what have you given? What of Victoria Hyla Maldonado? I mean, you're a writer, you're an editor, so you know what you're doing when it comes to the printed word. But what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to get out of you is, what of Victoria has made its way into the pages
there's
of
always,
not only the anthology, but of your works?
Yeah, no, there's always a bit of me in there. And it might not be directly to life, but I always use my own experiences to color the motivations. And when you get inside a character's headspace, it's like being an actor, where it's not you, but it is you. Right. And I heard there's a commercial out right now with Timothy Chalamet. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about. And he's like, no, it doesn't destroy you. You pull from yourself. Right. And it's exactly that. I love that. I don't remember what the commercial's for, but I love that because every little bit of it is a piece of me. And sometimes it's me working through something in my own life. Sometimes it's me trying to get a message across. There's one in there about systemic small town ignorance and racism, but it's not the whole story. It's just a function in a story. And it's just a sweet first kiss romance kind of story. But it's those little pieces. So I can get my views out without getting on a political soapbox and like saying it at people. Right. And that everybody has a story is a huge theme in my life, and it's all about being authentic and sharing those pieces of yourself, because no one should tell you that your story doesn't have value, because everyone has a story. I mean, and I had this existential crisis when I was in college, which kind of is I got through it. But I was sitting there in my dorm room and like thinking, okay, I've been to football games that are 120,000 people at University of Michigan, 120,000 people. And I'm this person, and I have all these thoughts, but I am so insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But I have this immense amount of thoughts and feelings and emotions and decisions, but I'm one little speck in a greater whole. What does that mean?
Right.
And so, but it really, in the positive side, it means that everybody does have a story to tell. And as an editor and a publisher for other people, I strive to get those stories to come to light.
Right, right. No, and I really do appreciate that, because there's so many things that people experience that they either tell me about, or at this stage and what we're doing with our show, like they DM or send us things. Hey, actually Luz went to this thing, the organization is Mujeres I can't think of what it is in Spanish, but it's like women entrepreneurs, something like that. They recently had a brunch, right? And they send us flyers, and I love to share them because so many people have reached out and think that they can't share something.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't want to know, but can you guys do this for the fundraiser we got? And it's like, man, the fact people think that nobody would support that.
Well, it's the imposter syndrome, and that is constant. I suffer from that constantly, whether it's in parenting or, in writing, like, oh, would anybody even care? But I've just decided to put it out there. If people care, they care. If they don't, I have it for myself. And so, but I found that people care.
Right.
But yeah, but there is a fear that no one's, or you're going to be a burden on somebody, or people aren't going to care.
Right.
Insignificant. But yeah, if we just collaborate more as a community, I think that can, you know, help everybody get a leg up.
Yeah, I get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
That's that's where my high comes from. I like to see people. Yeah.
That's what I love about this platform and what you've done with us over the last 5 years. It's just been amazing.
I appreciate it. I want people to feel proud about what they're doing.
Yeah.
You shouldn't listen if you're staying up all night doing it.
Yes.
You deserve you deserve a couple.
And when you're passionate about something, you do put in all the time.
Absolutely. 9:18 is the time. Tracy Duran is here. She says, "Good morning, friends. So glad to see Victoria today." Cindy Morales is here. She says, "Good morning. Good morning to you as well, Cindy." And Jen Ingram is here. She says, "Hi, Victoria."
She glittered my daughter yesterday.
Curtis, did she? At the farmer's market?
No, at the Pride Parade.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Jen Ingram was out there at the Pride Parade doing some face painting.
Face painting and glitter.
Absolutely. And shout out to everybody who was in the Pride Parade. And also, I would be remiss if I did not say hi to New England Congregational Church as well. Good morning to all of you guys there. All right. Let's talk about a couple more of the short stories. 9:18 is the time. And then we're going to come back and I want to ask more about your editing services as well. Take me through By the Book. What's By the Book about?
That was so fun. I was forced into a romantic comedy situation.
Forced into a romantic comedy.
I don't.
Sounds like a great movie.
I know, terrible. But I don't typically write lighthearted. I mean, I always take people into a dark spot and then bring them back to the light. It's just kind of interesting in that sense. But that was a romantic comedy situation, and it all stemmed from people crashing on the street and their stuff following, and that being the thing.
Oh.
But for this, I literally created the backstory of a dating app that matches people up by their reading interests.
Oh.
So, and I searched, and there isn't something like that. So app creators, let me know. Let's talk about it. But
find my next date World War II reader like her.
Well, yeah, but it was like, you liken yourself to your favorite literary character. You say your genres, what you don't like, what you're interested in, And so it was this roommate situation where there's a computer app programmer and an avid reader. And so he does it to get her out of her shell because she was burned in a previous relationship. And then the app matches them up, and there's, they don't know who they're dating, and it's a whole scenario. But it was awesome to do romantic comedy because it ends happily and ends well. So
okay.
It's fun.
Now, I want to plant a small flag in the conversation, though. This is the second romantic comedy that we've talked about in the stories now, and I see that one of them, this one ended well, but the one you mentioned before, which I think was that Living Color?
That's the post-apocalyptic.
That's the post-apocalyptic. It was Femme Facade.
That's not comedy.
That's not comedy?
No.
Well, one of them was left open for interpretation by the reader.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. Some of them are very cut and dry. Some of them are just kind of open into interpretation and continue your own story. So, but I love doing that, you know, especially with short stories because you can't get everything in. And I don't like the perfectly happily ever after endings. I like there's potential for happily ever after if, you know, they keep trying.
Right.
So, yeah.
Exactly. Because nothing is happy. Even, hey, listen.
Takes work.
Even a good book ends bad.
Because it's over.
For real, you know. Now, of these books, which did you have the most fun writing and why? Out of these stories, rather.
Oh, my
9:21 is the time.
I'd have to think about it. They're all beautiful in their own right. I kind of liked writing the horror story. There's one called Cursed.
Oh.
And I had to write a gothic horror story. So the qualities where it had to be a storm, it had to be scary, and then it was just, you could do with it what you wanted.
Okay.
And so I took it back to like 17th century witch culture.
Okay.
And this woman has just been found out, and it starts with her running up a spiral staircase and just in a panic.
Right.
And because someone has found her out, she's been hiding as a witch because it's not welcome in the community and the dukedom that they're in. And so this guy has suddenly found out who she is, and she's panicked and going up to try to do that. And she finds out that she is the last of her coven to be targeted by this assassin. And so, yeah, it ends with her getting killed, but it's expected from the beginning. But the identity of the assassin is the twist.
Ooh.
So, and the image is the one on the corner of the back, the black one, and it's a cat.
Okay.
So there's a cat that's involved, and magic and bioluminescence, which is just kind of fun. And so I play with all the different natural world things. So
very cool. Very cool. 9:22 is the time. Jen Ingram said, "Imposter syndrome is real and scary, but glad you overcame it."
I haven't overcome it.
Thank you very much. Well, like many things, it's a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress.
You just got to push through it every day and do your best and put yourself forward, put your best self forward, and try and live in your passion. And then try to ignore the voices. They never go away, but you can meet them.
Right.
You know, turn the volume down a little bit. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. Do you ever embrace the voices?
Oh, of the stories?
No, the ones in your head.
Oh, sure. I mean, I write because there's a movie playing in my head. Is that what you mean? Yeah. So I get voices, I get pieces of dialogue, I get everything that just comes down through my head. I don't know where it comes from, but it's my task as the writer is to really describe the movie that's going on. Okay. And I can sort of control it, but sometimes the characters take themselves and do their own thing, and then I get mad. So.
Absolutely. All right, 9:23 is the time. Tell me about Victorious Editing Services.
Yeah, so I do have my own company, and I write, edit, publish, and help other people get published. Lately, I've been doing menus for local pop-ups at McCarty Mills.
Yes.
Flo's 2 a.m. Tacos and Manny's Smash Burgers. I routinely do menus for them, and I get free food. So
it's not a bad deal, right?
I know, and I got to do another one for Manny today, so I got to get to that. But so I do little pop-ups like that. I've also done menus for other restaurants in the area. Torres Mania is my niece's restaurant. And so I just redid all their menus. They're gorgeous now with bright colors. And then also Jucalita. And you've had both of them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Shout out. 18 North State Street, North Aurora.
Yeah, I did their menus and do their website and stuff like that. So I do practical business things like that.
Right.
But I also help people get their own books into publication. So right now I have a couple of projects. I'm doing a devotional for a man who I did a poetry book for his son, and he contacted me to do a devotional.
Okay.
Just starting that. And I'm co-writing an immigration fictionalized account with someone I've been chatting to occasionally for the last couple of years, and now we're just like, let's go, let's do this.
Okay.
And then maybe I'm going to collaboratively put together a memoir for someone's mother who passed. So, and I do business books, I do fiction books. Okay. One that I just edited is getting huge in Plainfield. It's called Mason Gideon and the Cave of Fates. I got to edit that, and it's the first in a King Arthur retelling, young adult series, which I'm so excited about for them, and they're doing wonderfully. So nice. I love helping other people's voices get out there. And as an editor, I don't try to steal their voice. I just make it accessible.
Right.
And make sure it doesn't look glaringly like horrible.
Right, exactly. Make sure the voice is right.
Yeah.
Grammatically, you know.
Maybe it's a phrasing. Maybe it's a comma. Commas are no joke, people. So.
Yeah. There's a great book that I have that changed my life. It's called. It's like it's a quotation book. It's like a quotation book for the doomed, the damned. It's about where to put commas and quotations. Actually, I'm not doing that book justice. I will just post it on Good Morning Aurora and show you guys. It changed my life. But it's all about apostrophes, quotation marks, semicolons, and the impact it has on what you're writing.
Yeah, it's super important, and people do not give it enough credit, and especially with text culture and social media culture, people just don't think it's important.
And memes.
But there was a T-shirt that was being promoted, and it's something about my husband's blood, something like that, and it was supposed to be possessive with an apostrophe, but it just said husbands with an S, and I'm like, well, how many husbands do you have?
Yeah, seriously. No, it makes a difference. Yeah,
it does make a difference.
Yeah, that's why I don't share like memes and stuff, because the spelling and the grammar is so poor.
It's like you went through the effort to create it, but you didn't go through effort to make sure it said what you wanted it to say. I'm not sharing.
Like, I'm just going to have my laugh now and just be done with it. 9:26 is the time. Jen Mendoza's here. She says, woohoo. Good morning, Victoria. Jen Mendoza, shout out to Inspire Her. We got some things coming, so stay tuned with that as well. All right. How can people find you on social media?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Victoria Hyla on Facebook. Victoria J. Hyla on Instagram. All the books are available. I've got an order form up there, and then I'm going to push it live today. Today is officially live.
Okay.
But it's very exciting. I hope people want to read good stories. And it's summer, short snippets, short stories are great. Because you don't have to sit through the whole book at one point or feel guilty about putting it down and picking it back up.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about that. And then, we'll see what happens.
Ladies, get your flip-flops, get your rosé, get your blanket, and lay it out on the grass, and then get yourself a copy of Life Between the Lines. And, let the dew of the newly fresh grass imbibe your spirit as you read this great audio collection or collection. It's not audio, but it's very, very good. Yeah. Life Between the Lines. Okay, 9:27 is the time. I want to say thank you very much to our personal friend, Victoria J. Hyla, for coming back on the show this morning to tell us all about Life Between the Lines. We will also put a link in the description of this video so that you can purchase the book as well. Also, if you're interested and want to get your story out, as Victoria mentioned, Victorious editing services at your disposal. So please get in contact with her, follow her on social media, or if you have any questions about how to get in contact with Victoria, you can send us a message to any of our platforms and chats. 9:28 is the time. Love Victoria's books. So excited for her new short stories. Thank you very much for that. Right now, Good Morning Aurora is going to end, and we're going to switch you over to Buenos Dias Aurora, and we have a brand new guest on Buenos Dias Aurora this morning. Founder and Executive Director of Sueño Monarca, Fernanda Sandoval, is the guest this morning with Luz Elena Brambila Guerrero on Aurora's first bilingual news podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have a great day, a positive day, a blessed day, and a motivated day. We will see you guys tomorrow with more news and everything else. Take care of yourself and each other.
Feeling bullied by your bank?
Hey, I got a random overdraft fee.
You've reached our main menu. If you're disputing an overdraft fee, please press 4. Or just hang up and call back tomorrow.
Are you pretending to be a robot?
Goodbye.
Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start banking where you matter. Wintrust. Different approach, better results.
YEP gives me a lot of hope for the future, not just here locally, but as those kids go out into the world and they share their perspectives and their passions, it's going to be infectious. It's going to spread. So they're just an amazing organization that sets their partners and this community up for success. The future of this community, and honestly the country and the world, is bright with the kids that are on that YEP program, because they're going to save the world. They're doing incredible work, and to just get to know them and learn about their passions was a very fulfilling experience for me. Without the Community Foundation, it would be much more difficult for Hesed House and so many other organizations here locally to enact our mission on a daily basis.